I really like the fact that Jalen seems to be in control. He's confident. The other guys believe in him. He missed a few throws, but he had a great day. And I thought that was the best game of the season for him. Even though they didn't win it, he had a lot of good plays that really showed that, they can get a lot of things done offensively.
Welcome back to the National Football Show. If you would have told me that Andy Reid would have ran the ball 32 times and ran the ball more than he threw it in a game against the Eagles at Lincoln Financial, I would have told you were crazy. I would have told you were crazy. I can't even tell you who their running back is, but they ran for 200 yards against that Eagle football team, and really that was the stat of the game. Let's bring in our friend from Fox 29, our friend Garry Cobb in. Gary said this last week. He saw way too much catching. Well, that was a half against the 49ers. This was, I thought, 60 minutes of it. Let's bring in our friend here from Fox 29. Gary, I just said if you would have told me that Andy Reid had more rushing attempts than passing attempts with Patrick Mahomes, I would have said you were crazy. I thought Jalen played well, man. I didn't have really a problem with him. But what happened on the defensive side for the Eagles?
Well, that's the thing. They're playing a two-deep zone. And, to play the two-deep zone, you got 7 people in the box. And they really don't have the linebackers. Their linebackers they're just not good enough to stop the run in there because they're not good at getting off blocks. They're not really physical linebackers. They're probably better as pass defenders. Not that they're great in that aspect, but they really haven't put a priority on their linebackers. That's the problem. And in order to play that defense, now, see, Tampa Bay played that last year. Okay. But who does Tampa Bay have as linebackers?
Yep.
You got Devin White and I'm trying to remember his name, but another great athlete. 2 guys, can run. They can run with wideouts just about, but they're aggressive, quick. And so it's very hard for the offensive lineman to block them in space. So they do a good job of tackling, and they don't let you get a running game going where you can really depend on it. The other thing I think the Eagles are going to have to do is you have to move your linemen, meaning you have to have stunts where, we had a situation where we could give the lineman a call and he'd go inside. I'm going to go around and protect him. But the offensive lineman, a lot of times, hey, the guy stunts at the snap. He goes a direction that he didn't know. Well, he gets around him, gets in the backfield. You make a stop. See, if you make a stop and tackle them for a loss right away, now they gotta put the running game down and they gotta throw. See, so the Eagles are going to have to do that. They're going to have to let those linebackers move those tackles at different times. Maybe have them, they got stun inside, come around each other, do different things to move because they can't just stand there because these linebackers they're not good enough to get off blocks. They're just not real big physical guys, and they're not the fastest. I mean, they're really mediocre players. They don't really put a priority on having, like top first round, second round, top talent at the linebacker position. And see, now the way these offenses are attacking teams, you need playmakers at the linebacker position. You need some special talent there. And that's what Tampa Bay has. There are a number of other teams in the league that have that, like, the kid Micah Parsons down there, where they got this special talent at the linebacker position who can just about run with a wideout. He can attack a lineman, take him on. You need an exceptional talent, and the Eagles really just don't have that. They cannot sit in that too deep zone. They're going to have to come out of it and mix things up more, but they really play 2 defenses. They play a 5-man front where teams are throwing against that. They check out of the run and they throw the ball against them there because they don't have as many defenders. So, and with the way they call things now, it's the offensive game. And I got to give them credit. They ran the ball down their throat to see Andy do that when everybody used to say, come on, Andy, run the ball some. And now he says, hey, you're going to sit in that 2-deep zone. We're going to run the ball. And then when they wanted to, they were able to throw and get what they wanted. It really was a clinic. That's what it was yesterday over at Lincoln Financial Field. It was a clinic.
Absolutely. 24-30, 278 and 5 touchdowns. And
man, that Mahomes, I tell you, when he gets on the move, you know, he's not, you know, fast, but he can throw going to his left, to his right. He's throwing the ball underhand, sidearms. You know, son of a gun is just, man, he's a great arm talent. There's no doubt about them. That's why now you see the league looking for guys like that. That's why, you know, the kid up in with the Jets, they saw
Zach Wilson.
Yeah, been able to throw from the different angles. So right away they think of Mahomes. So if you can do that now, and of course, Kyler Murray out in Phoenix. Hey, what about that game? That was a shocker, boy.
Hey, I'm going to throw this at you, Gary. After the first 4 games of the year, he's your MVP. I mean, he's Allen Iverson in cleats. I mean, this guy just is incredible. I want to go back to what you said about the defensive line. It's funny you would say that about, you know, the technique that the front seven is playing in Philadelphia here. And Jerome used to tell me this, Jerome Brown, and even talking to Aaron Donald, as long as you're in communication with your linebackers behind you, it's okay to run around the block as long as you know what gap you're going to take. That's what that does is it stops the offensive lineman from getting up on slipping and scooping you. And it kind of keeps them honest a little bit. And like you said, maybe the scheme right now, because look at what Dan Quinn has done to the Dallas Cowboy defense in 1 year. They're playing fast and they're simplified. Do you think that's because, I mean, Fletcher Cox has been non-existent so far this year. He's got 1 sack. He didn't show up in the stat sheet. Is that kind of where we are right now? These guys are playing slow-footed.
I think they're playing slow-footed. You know, you really, to let them loose sometimes where they can just take off, where they don't have any responsibility, you know, try to get some penetration. And, you know, we used to have, when I was in Detroit, I played for a guy who was a defensive line coach. His name was Floyd Peters.
Great
and
coach.
he was a real good defensive line coach. And he used to say, hey, turn these guys loose, Cobb. So I would let him go inside, outside, you know, and I got him covered. If I know he's going this way, hey, I got this side, that's okay. But see, now the lineman, he's guessing. He doesn't know. Where's this guy going? So now they're not able to be as aggressive. And the Eagles are going to have to do that type of thing. But I see where the defensive coordinator, he's a young kid. You know, he's learning. He doesn't know, you know, because I see where he gets in the 2-deep zone and he doesn't mix it up. You know, you can get in that sometime, but give them something to fear, you know, something. And so if you move around, like especially people like Fletcher, you know, if you turn him loose where you let him go inside, boy, you know, and he catches somebody, let's say they're going the other way and he blows in there, blows the play up. Now the whole line, man, they go, where did he come from? Where, did you have him? Did I have him? You know, that shakes them up. And so you can do that. And with both of those guys, because the way, you know, Hargrave is playing, I mean, and the thing he's doing is he's playing aggressive. He's attacking. And Fletcher's grabbing. He's not attacking as much. He's, you know, and I would want to get him going. So I would turn him loose and have him pinch inside sometime. You know, let him get in that backfield really to scare them. Because if you have the big monsters show up all of a sudden in the backfield, that shakes the offense up, shakes up the quarterback, the running backs. Nobody wants to see what going like. I thought you had him, you know. And when that guy shows up in there, boy, it really is good. But it was an interesting game, though. You know, really, the Eagles' defense, you know, they got to get going. But I will say, offensively, you know, there were some pleasant things I saw yesterday with the Eagles' offense.
Yeah, and to expand on that, I mean, it looked like they got the ball to Devontae, 7 catches, 122. I mean, you know, from the Monday night game against the Cowboys to the Chiefs game, I was tweeting this out, Gary. I was going like, I can't believe this is Jalen Hurts. 32-48, 387, 2 touchdowns. He had command of the huddle. He had command of the pocket. He was rolling out. He was fighting. And by the way, the Eagles may have the best group of tight ends in the NFL. Those guys can place the ball. That Goddard kid, That kid catching that one-handed pass.
That's right.
And the corner of the end zone. I mean, I thought there was some things to build on with the offense coming out of that KC game. Do you agree?
No doubt about it. You know, we started to see Devontae. You know, he's the kind, he's got that basketball in him, you know, where guys are able to do that shake and, you know, he's able to give, you know, the kind of unorthodox rhythm, you know, to get guys off. And he's very hard to cover because he can give, you know, well, you see this in basketball. I can see he's got that in him. So he's able to, you know, make it very tough for you to jam him, you know, and he's able to get that separation. So he's starting to feel comfortable too in the offense and where they're letting him do his thing. So you can see the potential there. You know, this kid could be a very special player. And, you know, it's not a shock, you know, when you win the Heisman Trophy, but he's got those kind of skills. And now they're putting him in a position to utilize them. But, you know, Jalen, you know, the big thing with Jalen is he's a fighter. And I think the other guys will follow him into a fight. And so he's very aggressive and competing. He had that line playing hard. Now realize on that offensive line, they had 4 guys replaced up there. You know, so but they did a good job. They did a good job. You know, it wasn't perfect, but they did a good job up there. And that, you know, it says a lot about the offensive line coach. They got a good one there. But I really like the fact that Jalen seemed to be in control. He's confident. The other guys believe in him. You know, he missed a few throws, but he had a great day. And I thought that was the best game of the season for him. You know, even though they didn't win it, he had a lot of good plays that really showed that, you know, they can get a lot of things done offensively. Now, some interesting things are happening because this kid, Kenneth Gainwell, he's very good coming out of the backfield. He's really better than Miles Sanders when it comes to the pass game. And they want to throw the ball so much that he really was more productive yesterday than Miles. But they got to give him the ball more. Come on. That's the one thing that I wasn't crazy about is that, look, you let Miles Sanders run the ball only 7 times. 2 times the game before that. Come on. A running back can't even get into a rhythm. He's getting the ball, you know, so few times. So I'd like to see them, you know, get that running game going more. And I think what the coach should do is have somebody get in his ear during the game. Hey, coach, let's not forget that running game. Hey, coach, you know, you have one of your buddies on the staff. Hey, remind me to work that running game in there. So, because he's got to do that more. Now, see, he's always going to be leaning towards the passing game because he was a wide receiver coach. Right. That's what's in his blood. Andy was the same way because he was like a tight end coach. But you want to make sure that you don't get away from the running game. Still need that in there because if you get some tough treading, or if you're in a situation like they were where, look, we don't want their offense to have the ball. So let's run it a little bit. Let's hold on to the ball, give our defense a little break. So they gotta not get away from that. But really like what I saw out of Devontae. He started to come into his own. Jalen with outstanding game, with his reading of the coverages. He knew where he was going with the ball. You know, so he's getting more of a command of things. Which I love to see. He missed a few throws, but he made a lot of good throws. And throwing the ball downfield, I mean, you throw for almost 400 yards, you know, that's a good day. And so I like the way they're headed there. So offensively, they're headed in the right direction. Defensively, they got to tighten things down because you cannot let people just run the ball down your throat that much because you look at the schedule, it's not getting easier.
No.
You know, you got good teams coming up. And they're going to have to tighten up defensively because that's, you know, they had 1 interception, but 7 times, you know, the Kansas City Chiefs got the ball. 6 times they were in the end zone. So 6 out of 7, I'm sorry. People lose their job 6 out of 7. You know, that's when you go, you know what? Maybe we need a new defensive coordinator. Maybe we need some new defensive players. You know, if you're not getting it done, but they got to do a better job there, and he's got to mix it up. Can't just sit in that double zone. But I really like what we saw offensively. So all in all, I think that you know, with the offense going in the right direction, that's a thumbs up because a lot of these guys, they want to depend on, let's say, for the next 10 years. They hope that, hey, they got a quarterback that's going to be here. They're confident about Devontae Smith. And, with Dallas Goedert kind of coming into his own, I know he's looking for a new contract. So, he was happy to make those catches because, he's looking for that coin,
Yeah. Hey, Garry, I want to expand on what you said about coordinators. I loved what Sean McVay did a couple of years ago when he was hired. He brought in Wade Phillips. He had an experienced guy to help him go from being a coordinator to being a head coach. And he kind of helped him as he went from that transition on being a coordinator. And I'm going to tie last night's game. I watched Bill Belichick put that scheme together against Tom Brady with those disguised coverages and how they moved the backers around and how they moved exactly what you were saying. They were sliding the defensive front.
Yep.
That was one of the biggest tests that I've ever seen Tom Brady take for 60 minutes of ball game. And you and I can appreciate it. I'm watching the game and I'm going, look at the disguised walk-up coverages. They're not showing him where the free and strong safety are. They're not showing him who's blitzing.
That's right.
When you're a guy like Brady and you're just walking to your position, I think the Ravens really were the master at that, not showing where their coverages were.
Yeah.
That's experience on that side of the ball. And I think that's what kept them in that game last night against Brady, because he's the ultimate student versus the ultimate teacher. Would it have benefited Nick Sirianni on having a veteran defensive coordinator on that staff? And again, Jimmy Johnson has said this to me. You can have a great head coach, but if he doesn't have great assistants and great coordinators, that'll be his demise.
That's right.
I mean, the construction of the coaching staff, is that also to be questioned this coming off season?
You make a great point, because when you go too young on that staff, that usually doesn't work out well, and they're too young. The special team coach is 29. All of the guys, none of them are 40 years old, and they're inexperienced. And, he doesn't have anybody that will tell him, look, I remember back in 19, whatever, we did this A, B, and C, and I saw such and such do this. That experience, you cannot put a value on that, because he needs that and really lacks it, and you made a good point. They do a horrible job of trying to disguise their coverage. They just run to where they're going to be. Like, they never heard. I said, you guys ever heard of disguising coverages?
It's too predictable.
But you watch them. If you look at the all 22, they just run to where they're going to be. They don't disguise it. It's not good football, and it's not smart football. And you can see nobody's trying to correct it. So that means all the guys on the staff, they don't know either. And that's a problem. So, your point about having somebody with experience on there, can't say enough about the value of that, because they always have, that history where they can go back and they've seen so many different things. So they're able to give that good advice. But he really needs somebody to pull his coattail, because there's no way in the world anybody on staff would have let him run the ball 3 times and not say, hey, coach, I know you're trying to throw we got to run the ball more, just at least some, because you put your offensive line in a position where this guy knows we're going to throw every play, and then you're going to get some holding penalties. So, because I said, hey, you got a loud crowd and you got a situation where, you're throwing the ball every down. You're going to have some holding penalties. You're going to have some jumping off sides. You're going to have you're putting the offensive lineman in a bad situation where you're just basically telling everybody what you're going to do. And you don't want to do that on either side of the ball. And, your point about disguising the coverages, we started learning that. But like when I was in college, you started learning that about how to, why just tell them where you're going to be? Move around, It makes people uncomfortable. They're not sure. And you see a lot of teams, like what you say about the Ravens, they got people come up to the line where you got all these guys standing up. You don't know who's coming, who's not coming. And guys make mistakes. People make mistakes. I thought you saw, experienced lines make mistakes. So give them a chance to make a mistake. Don't just tell them, make their job so easy. But I see the Eagles, the 2 safeties are doggone, they're like 30 yards deep. I'm going like, now what you don't need to line up that deep. Now, come on. But their safeties are so deep, they're not going to help on anything. So I don't like the job he's doing so far. And, he was talking about he was going to be aggressive and an aggressive defensive coordinator.
No way.
Too deep zone. That's not aggressive. Come on.
Dude, that's hoping you stop. No, when he's saying too deep zone, you know what that means? I'm hoping the offense on the other side of the ball makes a mistake or a turnover. You're just trying to umbrella cover them. And in this league, now you see why Hill had, what did he have? 186 yards and 3 touchdowns and 11 catches.
That's right.
Well, when you have those openings down there and underneath, I mean, your point about the linebackers too. I mean, look, if you're going to play that style of defense, you need guys like Derek Brooks and Tampa 2 type linebackers that can play the run, cover tight ends coming off the line of scrimmage.
That's right.
And they just don't have those kind of guys in that huddle.
They don't have them, because if you're going to get somebody like that, you're going to have to get them in a top pick, or you're going to have to trade something really valuable to get that type of player, somebody with that type of speed. And so that's the only way you're going to play those defenses. They do not have the guys. I mean, they are really not that aggressive. I just would at least like them to be more aggressive. I mean, you see get up on the line, attack. If you're not going to attack, man, they're just catching, the tackle.
Yeah.
And I would say, you know what? I wouldn't even give a linebacker credit for a tackle. If he makes it 9 yards downfield after he's gotten blown off the ball, I'm going like, he go like, I had 10 tackles. No, you didn't have 10. I'm not giving you those 5, 7, 8, 9 yards deep. We could get somebody out of the stands to do that.
Corral tackling doesn't count.
that's right.
JOPs, right, Gary? JOPs don't.
You're right. Hey, JOPs. I remember.
There are a couple questions for you here. Let me throw this at you here. A couple of years ago, Chris Greer, the general manager, and Brian Flores in Miami had that in the right direction, but the record sucked. At the end of the year, they even beat the Eagles, I think, at the end of the year a couple of years back, and Seattle in the final quarter pole of the season. You think this football team is trending in the right direction, or do you think it's taking on water?
Well, I think, part of it is going in the right direction. And I have to say, I have to, divide it with offensive and defense. Defense, they got some problems to solve. They got to make some changes and tweak some things, especially with the fact that they really don't have all the talent, I don't think, right now. And then some of the older players on the defense, you look at a guy like Darius Slay. Is he going to be around when they try to do something? No, he's just there. He's going to play a couple more years or so. He won't be there when this team really turns around. So you look at him, you look at a number of the older guys. And for that matter, Fletcher Cox, he won't be there either. So they've got older guys. They really need, when they go to the draft next year, they got to look at that defense. And they got to do a better job there. Offensively, you can see they got something. This kid, Devontae Smith, he's a real deal. Jalen's, he had a good game. Of course, he's still, guy you're going to look at. You hope that he's the guy. But they got some talent. The kid, Gainwell, he's a keeper. He's today's running back, see? Yeah. Outstanding out of the backfield, catching the ball. He runs good routes. Kid's like a wide receiver playing running back.
He's like Marcus Allen. He's like Marcus Allen.
That's right. He's got that type of talent. So I like offensively, even some of the young offensive linemen, I thought they played well. Yep. So you got some of those kids. So offensively, I think you got thumbs up, things going in the right direction. Defensively, no. They're going to need to really do a real good job drafting, because they do not have the horses on the defense right now, other than Javon Hargrave, I tell you what, he probably already got a ticket now to the Pro Bowl. He's got 5 sacks in 4 games as a defensive tackle. That's
big money.
Yeah,
that's big money. And you singled him out.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the year. Finally, here, I have to ask you a Brady question, because you played against Montana. I played against Montana, and I tell everyone, if the rules were the way they were today, Joe would have played until he was 44. Yeah. He almost did play until he was 44. Just your assessment on what you've seen Tom Brady's career. I know that you would love to play against him and match your defense versus him, because it just looks like he's a savant the way he plays the position. Just compare those two. Are they comparable? Do you think Brady's better than Joe?
Montana was a better athlete, able to move better.
Yep.
He would throw more on the run. Tom might have a stronger arm. But the big thing that they both do is they see things. It's like the point guard comes down. He sees what's going to happen, and
like Magic Johnson.
That's like Magic Johnson. That's right. And so he's able to create, and they able to read coverages so fast, and they put the ball. And the big thing they both had, accuracy. I think accuracy probably is the most important thing about a thrower. You could have a guy with a little bit more heat on it. Give me the guy that can put it on the money. And you saw the game last night with Tom. Hey, his boy let him down. He's dropping it in the basket, man.
Yeah. Antonio Brown.
Tom drops it in the basket, and that's the way Montana was. Great accuracy as a thrower, and able to really know what's going on. And he's already on the move. Both of them can throw well on the move. And they were winners. It's a big thing is that you got that quarterback that's got that competitive edge to him. He goes in the huddle. He gets everybody else going, hey, and hey, we're coming back and we're going to win this game. And, both of them, I mean, how many comebacks have they had? Both of those guys, hey, if they're chasing you,
hey, Garry.
You might get on your cell phone going, look, I don't know if I'm going to make it home.
Hey, Garry, I used to say this when I was with the Bucks. We played them, and we played them a close one at Tampa Stadium. I looked over at the guys, and I'm looking at Irv Randall, and I'm going like this to Irv. I go, they got three guys. They got Roger Craig, Jerry Rice, and Montana. And he looked over at me. He goes, oh, that's it, right?
Yeah, they got it done, man. But that accuracy, and that's the big thing about Jalen. He's working on his accuracy.
Yep.
If he's accurate, he'll be a big time quarterback. So that's going to be the key with him. But both Brady and Montana, they had accuracy. They could put the ball on the money, and they threw a catchable ball to both of them. Sometimes you quarterbacks, guys want to throw the ball through the receiver. Come on, you don't need to throw the ball that hard. Let's throw a catchable ball. They both threw catchable balls, and they put it on the money. That's why the receivers like playing with them.
Absolutely. Garry, great stuff as always, man. I so appreciate it. We'll see what comes up this week here. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it.
Good deal.
You got it. That's my friend Garry Cobb from Fox 29 in Philadelphia. We'll take a time out. Get back to your thoughts. You keep it right here on the National Football Show.